Yashodanandana Bhajadana Yamunai Tira Panajari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Preshu Patrishu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. Okay, so today, well, thank you so much for coming to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. I know probably many of you were expecting a Chitta Gopi. I'll have to do for today. I was free to choose whatever verse I wanted to discuss, and so my favorite verse is Tatenu Kampam Sushamikshamano 10:14:8 in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's interesting that you guys are already in the 10th canto, so somebody will probably talk about this verse pretty soon, but this verse can be spoken about for forever, so I think that's okay, right? Trying to find it. Maybe it's not in. Oh, okay. It's not in this one. Doesn't go up to 14. I'm gonna look it up on my phone so that we can read the. Do you guys have it on your phone? Maybe you can pull it up so that we can read the Sanskrit together. Okay. I'll try to speak up.
That's okay.
Okay. Maybe we can. Okay, we'll do call and response one time through. Tatenu kampam sushamikshamano Munjana evatma kritam vipakam Vivadma namaste Jiveta yomukti pade sadayava. If somebody wants to read it.
Tenukampam Shushamiksamano Janaevatmakritam Vipakam Vidvagvapurvi Vidhadan Namaste Jivetayumukti Sadayabha
Maybe whoever has it on their phone, we can read the translations together. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Sridhar Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. The word Susamikshamana indicate that a devotee earnestly awaits the mercy of the Supreme Lord, even while suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. Lord Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last vestiges of this enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. The purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord, and therefore, the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produced that activity. Although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service, until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. This unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return home back to Godhead. A sincere devotee earnestly desires to go to the Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishments and continues offering respects and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, words, and body. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord, considering all hardship a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord, certainly becomes a legitimate son of God, as indicated here by the words Dayabhak. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the Supreme Pure, Lord Krishna, without undergoing a rigid purificatory process, which may appear like suffering, but which is in fact a curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshur Militanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Srinivani Paschatya Rishatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm sincerely begging for the blessings and the mercy of all of the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak something that will touch someone's heart and is aligned with Shastra and with my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's vision. Okay, so this verse was spoken by Lord Brahma during the Brahma Vimohan Lila. So this is when Lord Brahma he wanted to test Krishna. He didn't necessarily believe that the Supreme Lord would come as a little boy, holding yogurt in his left hand and playing with, his friends. So he wanted to test the Lord. And so he took away all of the Lord's cowherd boyfriends and all of the cows. And he left. He left for a day. And a day of Brahma is 1 year in our time. And so 1 year passed, and Lord Brahma came back to see Krishna with all of his boyfriends. And he was so confused. He was like, wait, what happened? Like, I took all the cowherd boys, and I took all the cows, but here are all the cowherd boys and all of the cows playing together. And then he was actually feeling very distressed because, bewilderment causes distress, confusion. This is a big source of distress for conditioned souls. And so he was in this state of distress, and then the Lord revealed his Vishnu form through the cowherd boys and the cows and the calves. And Lord Brahma could understand that this was the Supreme Lord, and that he had tried to test the Supreme Lord and be due to his own pride. So in a lecture that I was hearing, this is what my Guru Maharaj was saying, that it was due to his he was a little prideful of his knowledge and his position, and so he thought that he could test the Supreme Lord, and this pride is compared to the pride of fireflies among one another. One firefly is thinking, oh, I'm brighter than you, or they're envious of this firefly is brighter than me, and then the sun comes up, and so the fireflies are like, okay, you can't even see my light when the sun comes up. So they understand their insignificance. This pride is what actually keeps us from surrendering to Krishna's will. This idea that we can control any situation, or that we know what's best for us or what's best for anyone else, or that maybe even we deserve better than what we're receiving. This all comes from pride, and it's a reason why we're unable to fully accept Krishna's mercy in our lives. The opposite of this pride, of course, humility is the opposite of pride, but for the sake of this class, I want to speak on gratitude, because humility and gratitude really go hand in hand. A humble heart is a grateful heart. And this verse is about that. Is about being grateful even in difficult situations. It says, one who earnestly waits. This verse is it's so amazing to dissect. I have some words underlined. The word earnestly. I was hearing a class about this a while ago at Krishna House in Gainesville, and the devotee Sridham, he was really emphasizing the word earnestly. He looked up the definition and all. He said the word earnestly means with great confidence and very eagerness, a lot of confidence and eagerness. So confidence that it's going to happen. I will receive the Lord's causeless mercy. It will happen, and I'm eager to. I'll do whatever is necessary, or I'll wait with my heart wide open just to receive that mercy, very earnestly, confidently. I know it will come. So we're earnestly waiting the Lord's causeless mercy while patiently suffering the reactions of our own past misdeeds. And part of that earnest waiting, part of that confidence is knowing that the reactions from my past misdeeds are also Krishna's mercy. We should always expect mercy. We should always expect the Lord's mercy, always expect Guru's mercy in all circumstances of life. But what we should not expect is how that mercy is going to appear. We shouldn't expect that it's going to follow some idea that we have. That's this controlling mentality, this prideful mentality that we know what's best for us. So oftentimes we'll receive mercy, and it's amazing mercy. It's actually more than what we can imagine and comprehend, but it doesn't come in the ways that we expect. Maybe it's painful. Maybe it's bewildering. Maybe it stops us from doing something that we really, really wanted to do, or, anything like that. So we patiently suffer the reactions of our own past misdeeds. This part of the verse also represents us knowing that whatever is coming to us is for our ultimate good, as in we needed to learn a lesson. we made some mistakes, and because of these mistakes, we have to learn these particular lessons. And so any suffering that we receive, any punishment that we receive is actually like very, very perfectly crafted to suit us and to suit our need, to learn and to soak in that information so that we can come closer to Krishna. All of these trials that we face, all these obstacles are servants of Krishna, actually. It's one of my favorite quotes that I've heard, is that all obstacles are servants of Krishna, because they help us. They're molding us. They're especially like they're molding us so that we can come to our true state of service, constant devotional service and remembrance of Krishna. So he says, patiently suffering the reactions of my own past misdeeds, while offering respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body. And so these are three aspects of ourself. There's body, which is gross. This is like dandava pranams, raising your hands in kirtan, doing service, washing dishes, cleaning floors. Offering service with the body is kind of a little bit easy. Anybody can kind of do those things externally. Then it goes a little deeper with our words also. Offering respectful obeisances with our words, it's a little more difficult to keep that in line. Actually, the tongue is one of the most difficult senses to control, and not just in eating, but in what we speak, because anything that we speak is a reflection of our internal conversations with ourselves. Whatever we're thinking is going to come out, And so how we offer our respectful obeisances with our words, of course, we say Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. We use prayers, we use mantras, reciting verses from the scriptures, Krishna Katha, also glorifying Krishna's devotees. This is how we can always maintain that mood of love and respect with Krishna, is by using our words in these ways, and trying, accepting what's favorable and rejecting what's unfavorable. So trying not to use our words in detrimental ways. And then to go to the most subtle aspect is the heart, offering respectful obeisances with the heart, because yes, anyone can pay obeisances and do some service in the temple, and even most people can say the right things at the right times. If we've heard, we know what to repeat. But to include the heart is the most difficult aspect. This is something that we have to remind ourselves constantly, to bring ourselves back to. At least me, in my own sadhana, this is a practice that I am constantly working on, is opening my heart in all circumstances. I see, for me, to surrender, I always had this quote that I don't know if I heard it somewhere, but to surrender means to open the heart, in all circumstances. It's just like, don't let it shut. And we can feel it. We can actually feel it when our heart is closing to something, And so when we get these punishments, or when we receive these obstacles, we can feel our heart start to close, and we don't want to accept it, and we want to protest, and we don't want to. We can't surrender to that. But if we, in those moments, it's a physical sensation actually, to feel our heart close. And in those moments, we can choose to actually sit with that physical sensation and kind of allow it to open back up. And when we do that, when we open our heart in that way, it does make room for a lot of pain to flood our heart. And that can be scary, but we can expect Krishna's mercy and know that whatever pain we might feel is shaping us. It's actually molding us in the perfect way, And so we open our heart, because actually when our heart is closed, sure, nothing can get in to hurt us. We're making sure that we're protecting our heart. But when it's closed, also nothing can get out. So all of the baggage and all of the dirt that's in our heart is stuck, and we can't be free from that. And so we have to open our heart in those moments, so that anything that comes in is going to also bring out that dirt when it leaves. And if we keep our heart open, then it'll be like a flow like that. Things will come in and things will leave. And I like to when I practice this meditation, in my own mind, I like to imagine Krishna, as Paramatma. He's our gatekeeper. He's the gatekeeper of our heart. And so he is making sure nothing is going to come in that is not going to ultimately benefit us, so he's making sure anything painful that comes in is going to pull out a lot of dirt when it leaves, and all the beautiful things that come in, they'll probably stick around. I would assume so, at least in my experience. Yeah, Prabhu, look like you have a question.
Yeah, they have this painting, maybe you've seen Jesus knocking on the door of the heart. You ever see that?
I have one.
No.
It's beautiful.
You see him there, and there's this door, but it's got no doorknob on the outside.
Wow.
So the only way Jesus can get in, we open the door.
Wow.
And there was this nurse, and she had a little her sister's daughter there, and she used a stethoscope, and she let the little girl listen to the do-do, do-do. And she said, "Do you know what that is?" And she said, "Is that Jesus knocking on the door of my heart?"
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Krishna is so wonderful. The whole idea of that verse of like that, we're like, we do this, we do that, we do that, and then Krishna is so wonderful that he's reciprocating with that. And last night I was thinking about this thing I heard when I was a kid about it. Jesus is on the cross, right? And there's two guys crucified next to him. You know that? There's three people got crucified, and one of them says, "See, you got it too." And the other one says, "Wait, this is like an illustration of how powerful, how wonderful Krishna is, that he reciprocates with even a little bit of faith." There they are, like they're thieves, they're rogues, they're being crucified, being killed for their sins, And the one goes, "Hey, wait a minute, he's innocent. He doesn't deserve this. He's actually a person who just tried to serve God." And they're hanging on the cross having this conversation.
Wow.
And Jesus said to him, "Well, you will come with me to the kingdom of God today, on this day." That little bit of faith at the last moment. I believe that that you're saying the right thing, and so we have that little bit of faith. And Krishna so wonderfully reciprocates and helps us and brings glory to Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Actually, I have another point that I wanted to come to, which is this daya bhak term. And so it's really beautiful how Prabhu was saying, right at the last minute, this person on the cross had just a little bit of faith in Krishna, and he was eligible because of that little bit of faith. He was eligible to make it back, to the kingdom of God. He was eligible to go back with Jesus Christ, And so this word daya bhak, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that it means like an inheritance, And so my Shiksha Guru Kalakanta Prabhu, he often says like, well, what does the son have to do to gain the inheritance of his father? What does the son have to do? Stay alive. That's it. We just have to, so in order to gain this inheritance that Srila Prabhupada has left for us, all we have to do is stay alive in Krishna consciousness. Just keep associating with devotees, keep chanting Hare Krishna. And the way to do that, the way to never leave the association of devotees, is to always remain grateful for their association. That gratitude, that humility is what will keep us alive in Krishna consciousness and enable us to inherit the kingdom of God. So if we lack this gratitude, then we'll easily make offenses. We'll easily become complacent and not see the value of what we're receiving. But if we can remember this fact that gratitude is like the key, gratitude is the key. Humility is the only means to attract Krishna, and humility is identified by a grateful heart. And so because of that, we can always remain grateful, especially for devotee association. Because even if we stop chanting, even if we fall away, if we come back to the devotees, they will always accept us. If we come back with a sincere heart, they will always accept us, and they will always give us the shelter and reconnect us with the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Just remembering, I also thought of this point when I was taking notes, that the kind of subtleties of the phrase, this is more than I deserve versus I deserve worse. I mean, neither of them, like, I deserve worse isn't necessarily bad, to say, but there's some subtleties, at least in my own mentality, that when I think this is more than I deserve, it represents gratitude. And when I tell myself constantly I deserve worse, it could potentially make me feel like I'm so fallen, which is, we should have humility, but we need to identify the line between gratitude and true humility versus self-degradation. Because self-degradation is going to lead us to being depressed and feeling like we're not worthy of devotee association. It's gonna that's one of the ways that Maya pulls us out of the devotee association, is by telling us, oh, you're not good enough for this. They're all better than you, and you can never follow the 4 regs, and you could never chant 16 rounds for the rest of your life. Like you're so fallen. And that's one of the ways that Maya comes into our heart, and she disguises herself as humility. Actually, it's often said that when we water our Bhakti Lata Bij, we're also watering a few weeds surrounding the Bhakti Lata Bij. And so we have to be careful, because usually weeds, when they grow next to a particular plant, they start off looking like that plant. I think, did somebody say that the other day? Mm-hmm. Yeah, such an amazing fact, because I remember I was gardening with someone, and I was always confused. Is this a weed? Or because it looks exactly like the plant at first, and there's a few differences. And so the self-degradation looks a lot like humility, and we start to water. Oh, I'm so fallen. I'm the lowest of the lowest. I'm never going to be worthy of any type of mercy. I mean, sure, these things can be beneficial to think about if we're able to think about them in an actual humble way, not in a self-degradation way, self-degrading way. But we have to be very careful not to let it get out of hand. Yes, please.
We mentioned yesterday, Prabhupada tells us that half of humility is to actually acknowledge my unworthiness, my fallen condition. Mm-hmm. But the other half, which if you leave that out, it's not complete. It's to say, but Krishna's so wonderful. Mm-hmm. Right. I may not be qualified, right, but Krishna's so wonderful that he still gives us devotional service. He still gives us a chance to please him. Right. How wonderful is Krishna?
And actually, in the lecture that I was hearing yesterday, I was hearing that we, when we're new and we're trying to develop this concept of humility, we think, I am so small, I am so small, I'm so small. But when we actually come to some level of realization, and we have some true humility that does come when we chant Hare Krishna for a while and sincerely, and we associate with devotees, instead of thinking I am so small, we're not even thinking I am anything. We're thinking Krishna is so great. Krishna is so great, just like you just said. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for that. So to bring it back to the actual pastime, it's just so amazing that instead of that depressing feeling of Lord Brahma, like Lord Brahma didn't get depressed when he found out that he was incorrect and he tested Krishna and he shouldn't have, and Krishna was God. He didn't feel like, oh my God, I suck, I should just go hide in a cloud. That wasn't his mood. His mood was, wow, I need to rise up to this, and I need to go to Krishna and beg for his mercy because I see his greatness now. So at any point when we get in that low position and we feel like maybe we made a mistake or something went wrong, instead of retreating, instead of hiding, we should go. We should use that as an impetus to face that and to accept what happened and to allow it to mold us. That's the whole, this Krishna consciousness movement is a process of transformation. It's not an external, I go to the temple, I wear tilak. It's transforming the heart, And so Brahma took that opportunity to truly approach Krishna in this mood of humility and gratitude, because Krishna used this as an opportunity to give Lord Brahma his own personal darshan. And so we can always remember that also. We can understand that the Lord's, let me see what I wrote here. Yeah, Lord Brahma could understand that it was the Lord's mercy to correct his mentality while also giving him his darshan. And so when obstacles arise for us, we can fully see it as the Lord's mercy correcting us and also the ability to see Krishna's miracles happening in our life. When there are obstacles that we have no ability to overcome, and we have no choice but to call out to Krishna, that is when we really see miracles happen. And those are the strongest faith building experiences that a person can have in this life. Is these opportunities to overcome something through Krishna's mercy that could not have been overcome on one's own. That's basically the talk that I wanted to share with you all. Gratitude and humility. Any questions, comments, criticisms, corrections? Jump up, please.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class. My favorite topic also, humility. I just wanted to share the definition that Radha gives in the Journey Within humility. He says humility is to not block the natural flow of grace that's coming from Krishna. So just like you were saying so perfectly, sometimes we think that humility is like, putting ourselves down or something. And it's not, it's focusing on how wonderful is Krishna is. And it's focusing on Krishna's magnificence. And then when we do that and we allow ourselves, it's not it's actually a false ego to cut ourselves off from Krishna's grace, even to empower us in service. Sometimes devotees are like, oh, nice class, Prabhu. And it's like, oh no, I'm so bad. That's not humility. Yeah. Humility is like, thank you, Prabhu, all glories to my guru. Yeah. Because my guru is so merciful that my guru is using me as an instrument. So it's something empowering. It's actually becoming an instrument of Krishna, instrument of Guru, allowing ourselves to receive and allowing that to flow from others and realizing that it is not us. We are not the doer, but Krishna is the doer. And he goes on in that section to say that it's similar to when you're standing in front of like a vast ocean and you realize how small you are. It's realizing that we're part and parcel of Krishna, but we're so small and Krishna is so vast. So and we can just feel that gratitude to be connected to Krishna.
Wow. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. Actually, I think I stopped a little early, right? Yeah. I still had some time.
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking 7:50 for some reason. Well, does anyone else have any comments or questions? Because I did hit all the bases, but if anyone book distribution? Yeah. Oh, and how it relates to this verse or just in general? I mean, okay. Well, just I can talk about one like life-changing experience paradigm shifting experience that I had. It's very simple, and it kind of relates, I guess, in that like earnestly waiting for Krishna's causeless mercy. There wasn't, I don't know, he was suffering, but anyways, so I was on traveling Sankirtan recently over the summer for a couple months, and we were in I think we were in Philadelphia, and there was this parade happening, this huge parade. There were tons of people, like hundreds and hundreds of people, and we were so excited. We were like, we're gonna go to this parade and we're gonna distribute so many books. We're gonna stay for like 3 hours, we're gonna just get out as many books as we can. And so we were looking for parking, and we couldn't find any parking anywhere near the parade. We looked and we looked and we looked until we were about 20 minutes away from where the parade was and where all the people were. We parked next to like this park, like this grass field with trees and stuff. And there were a few people. There was like 4 or 5 people out there. And so we're like, okay, I guess this is as close as we're gonna get. We're gonna have to try to like find this parade on Google Maps. And on our way, while we were walking, there were just a few people walking around, barely anyone. But everybody that we talked to, I think only like 1 or 2 people. I think we approached like 7 people, maybe. I don't know, it's like a random number, maybe 6 or 7 people trying to find this parade. And maybe 1 or 2 people didn't take a book. So out of all of these people, like so many people were taking books, and there was this one person who was just he was laying down under a tree, like looking at the clouds. And I was like, this guy is this is the one. And so I went up to him with some books, and he stayed laying down throughout our whole conversation. Like, he didn't sit up one time, but we were having this intensely deep conversation, and he was there, he was meditating, he was going through like a rough patch in his life, and he was like really asking for answers. And it was crazy that I approached him because he was just in the middle of like praying or whatever, like meditating on answers, and wanting these wanting to know like what is life about, and he had some basic philosophy down that was like aligned with our scriptures and with our philosophy that we preach. And he took 2 books, Bhagavad Gita and SSR, so the Science of Self-Realization. And it was so beautiful, this whole conversation that we had. It was just very evident that Krishna sent us 20 minutes out of the way, away from hundreds and hundreds of people. I don't know about the other people, people take books sometimes, but it doesn't like resonate so much, but they still take it. But this guy, it was like Krishna sent us all the way out of the way for one person. And experiencing that was just beautiful, because it reminded me of my own, coming to Krishna's story, and how perfectly tailored it was for me. And how Krishna goes out of his way and takes other people out of their way just to give Krishna to one sincere soul, one person who actually wants to know him. It's really beautiful, yeah.
Krishna, thank you for class. So nice. I was just thinking about how you said that gratitude is the key. Like, that's what we need to really do to stay alive. And then I was thinking, and keep your heart open, gratitude and heart open. And I was thinking, well, what if that doesn't come so naturally to some people?
Right.
And then the answer that I kind of got within was just pray for that gratitude. And I don't know, Trisha recently shared a story with me about humility and what it actually is. And like, I want you to tell it, because it just perfectly explains how we deal with anarthas humbly. And it's the story about the broom and the it's just perfect. It's perfect.
Okay, yeah, this is it's very silly, simple story, I guess. Okay, so I live in a temple in Philadelphia, and I was doing my laundry in the basement, and I was getting my laundry back. I was taking it up to my room, and so I had like this huge basket. Actually, I had 2 baskets because I'd waited to do my laundry for a while, so I was carrying all these clothes, and on my so funny, on my way up the stairs, I knocked over a broom, and I looked down at the broom, and I felt like I should pick up this broom. But then I had all these clothes in my arms, and I really didn't want to put down the clothes and pick up the broom and then go up the stairs. I just didn't want to. And so I looked at the broom for a second, and I was like, Krishna, I'm sorry. And I walked up the stairs, and I didn't pick up the broom. And as I was walking up the stairs, I was just like feeling so bad, but I still wasn't gonna go pick up the broom. I was seeing all of this happening in my mind. Like, I feel bad that I didn't pick up the broom. I'm still not gonna pick up the broom, but Krishna, please help me pick up the broom next time, because I want to be the type of person that would pick up the broom. But right now, it doesn't seem like I'm that person. So hopefully in the future, I'll choose to pick up the broom. Please, Krishna, help me next time pick up the broom, or whatever that represents in any situation in life. So yeah, I think I don't know how it relates to humility, but I just remember like the lesson that I received from within was that I can't necessarily. I mean, I could have picked up the broom, I could have, but I didn't. And I can't change what I did. I can't change the fact that I left that broom on the floor, but I prayed about it. And so at least I prayed about it. And I think that left a strong enough impression that next time I'll probably pick up the broom, because I allowed myself to, actually what happened in my heart was I allowed myself to feel what I was feeling. You know, when that initial emotion came that I should pick up the broom, I didn't just brush it off and ignore it and go up the stairs without thinking about it. I actually did take the time to think about it. Even though I didn't go back and pick up the broom, I felt what I needed to feel and I prayed about it. And so it was able to change my heart because of that. So next time, hopefully pick I thought about it. I even told, when I got upstairs, I told my roommate, I was like, I left the broom on the floor. I know I can walk back downstairs and pick up the broom, but I really don't want take it. We were doing a lot of service. I think we were rehearsing for a play, and so our bodies were sore, and I was like mentally, kind of done. So there was external circumstances, but still, I could have done it. But yeah, I did think about it, and I didn't do it. So thanks for exposing me. Anyone else? I think there's 3 minutes left. If anyone has any more discussion, Max, yeah, please.
Hey Krishna, thank you for giving class. It's very sweet. My question is in the keeping the heart open. Personally, I have like a reluctance, a natural reluctance, so I'm being honest about that. And of course, now my mind wants to come up with like philosophical defenses. So maybe you could break that down. It makes me think of the story with the monkey and the alligator or crocodile, where he's going with the crocodile. The friend's like, "Come to my house," and then he's like, "I lied to you. My wife actually wants to eat you." And then the monkey's like, "That's okay. I left my heart in the tree.
I'll go back and get it." Right?
Yeah. And then he gets his way
Escapes,
out.
yeah.
He escapes like that. So, and that's what makes me think that sometimes it's okay to not kind of have your heart open to some circumstances,
Okay.
but kind of open it in other circumstances that are more favorable. At least maybe to certain persons, like maybe always open to Krishna, always open to his arrangements, but not always revealing it to all other people.
I have a response if you
Please.
are ready for it. Exactly like you were saying at the end there, keeping your heart open to Krishna's arrangement. Keeping your heart open doesn't mean you're putting it in everyone else's hands. That's not what it means. You're keeping it in inside, your heart is open to the experiences that you're receiving and to Krishna's mercy and to the lessons that you're receiving. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're investing your heart in every single engagement, like if we go out on books, if I go out on books and I'm talking to so many people, there's going to be envious people. There's going to be people that pretend that they want to know what the book is about just so that they can tell you that you're going to hell because they're, fanatic Christians. And so in book distribution, we have to keep our heart open to receive the lessons and to be a clear via medium for Krishna's grace, so that we can properly, give whatever messages we're receiving, so we have to keep our heart open internally, but we're not putting our heart in his hands, as in my heart is not dependent on you taking this book or you responding to me nicely. If you spit in my face, my heart should still be open, and that's because Krishna is protecting our heart, not them. They don't have anything to do with our heart. They are an instrument of Krishna's lessons and Krishna's, the lessons that we're meant to receive, but they are not the proprietor or the protector or the maintainer of our heart. We keep that in Krishna's hands. What does that help? Does that clarify a little bit? Because we should always have our heart open, even in circumstances where it feels like really, really painful, or like someone else has the power to hurt us. Because in those situations, if we keep our heart open, then we'll develop crazy amounts of lessons on humility and tolerance and patience, because those lessons are coming from Krishna. But our heart doesn't belong to that person. Our heart belongs to Krishna. So we keep it open in Krishna's hands. Okay, it's 8:00. I guess this thing is gonna 1 minute now. Okay. Does anybody else have a last point, last comment? Prabhu,
Angelica had her hand raised.
Oh,
Angelica.
I can't see, so sorry. Please, yeah, we have about 1 minute, I think.
It's okay. I had many comments that I wanted to say, so it's hard to choose one. But going back to the theme of your class to kind of, bring it forth, I was reminded again of the image that Saint Teresa of Avila uses in her book, The Internal Castle, which I often refer to, which is the image of us being molded or being imprinted like wax. Hat wax is printed with the stamp. And so it's also interesting to think about it, because all we have to do is allow ourselves to be melted down, and we still cannot melt ourselves, just like it has been said in previous classes in previous days, that that we only can pray for our anarthas to be removed by Krishna and to try our sincere best and to keep our hearts open. So I just wanted to bring that. I just really like that image. Let us become the hot wax.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Or I also like to meditate on butter, because I have this murti of Makhan Chor, the butter thief. Krishna is the butter thief. And so similar to hot wax, melting in that way, melting like butter. It's nice. It's a beautiful meditation to have that visual to go with the internal. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Put your heart in Krishna's hands and stay alive. Bruce, stay alive. Okay, drive safely. Rich Bhagavatam. Nice seeing everybody. Yogeshwari, Suzanne, Amish, Bhima Prabhu, Akiko Chan, Kartik, Angel, Haribol.